Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Noelle and I review and unbox subscription boxes here on my channel, and today I have another book subscription to share with you. This one is not sent to me for a review, although occasionally Once Upon a Book Club has sent me boxes for a review through their VIP club. Now usually those boxes that are offered to VIP club members come after the boxes have already been reserved or sent to subscribers. This year what I have done is I've used the referral credits that I get whenever you use my links and my codes to go ahead and put that into 3-month subscriptions. And usually it pays for about half of that 3-month subscription cost, which is great. It definitely makes it a lot more affordable for me. And then I'm sometimes able to prolong the subscription by skipping if they have a hint for an upcoming romance novel. Those are not really my taste, not my genre that I like to read. So I'll usually skip those, which sometimes extends my subscription for a little bit longer. So let me go ahead and tell you what that code and link are. It is going to be Noel10 for 10% off anything really on the Once Upon a Book Club site, the subscriptions, their special limited edition boxes, some of the past boxes they have on there. You can use that code. And then, like I said, it does give me some referral credit versus commission. It's a little bit different so that I can purchase other items from them. So I'm not doing their Advent box this year, and I haven't gotten any of their special holiday boxes. I may be on the lookout for a New Year's Eve box. They usually do one of those, although those are usually kind of romance oriented as well, but we'll see. So just in case you are not familiar, Once Upon a Book Club is one of the OG book subscriptions where as you are reading along in the selected novel for that month, you'll come across a sticky note that instructs you or basically directs you to a corresponding gift. Once Upon a Book Club is really great about beautiful packaging and actually having items made for the box, which is just because they are big enough that they are able to do that, which sometimes I think is a great thing, and sometimes it feels like it's definitely Once Upon a Book Club made for the book club, which sometimes it feels like maybe the quality isn't as great as you would like. I will say the last box that I got, fantastic gifts. I think they went really well with the passages, with the book, and I was actually really impressed by the quality. The cost of this book box is $49.99 per month. Obviously, you do save if you're able to do a longer subscription up front. That does include the shipping. The boxes are always going to come with the chosen book for that month, a bookmark, as well as the guide. Sometimes there's an author's note, sometimes there's a signed book plate, it just depends. Occasionally they'll even do a special edition where they have it printed for Once Upon a Book Club. This is what the guide looks like, so they always just have a hint essentially as the name of the box. You can probably figure out what the upcoming book is based on the lengthy hint that they publish on their website. But the book this time was Scenes of the Crime by Jilly Gagnon, and the theme or the hint was Murder, She Wrote, which I thought sounded good. Inside they have usually an interview with the author if they're available for it, discussion questions, and then sort of gift reading dates where you want to if you want to read along or actually run it like a book club. We have our own book club in the NoBot Nook, so if you are interested in joining us, we do that on a quarterly basis, so we have one more book to read for this year. And then on the back they usually have like a fun activity or a recipe or extra article that kind of goes along with the book. So this time around in Scenes of the Crime, by the way, they also have a middle grader box and a young adult box. You can go back and forth between them on one subscription. You just have to interact with their customer service, but their customer service over there is actually really fantastic. So here is this is nice. The author actually took the time to write a proper signature, so I appreciate that from Jilly. And then here is our bookmark and the quote card. I forgot to tell you about the quote card. So same thing, it says, it's kind of interesting because it's very strange font. It looks like the expanding font that you can do in an Instagram story, which, okay, very modern. Says, we were all really here because of our secrets, and I, for one, needed to make sure mine were truly safe. So kind of interesting with this foresty look because of the location of the setting. But this was a really interesting book, so let me go ahead and pull the book out. Here's an example of the beautiful packaging that they have produced for these boxes. There were 4 gifts this time around. I thought that 3 of them were pretty good. One of them, I'll talk about it when we get to it, is like not my favored kind of gift, but it's not a bad thing. But that is the norm, is like 3 to 4 gifts, and varying price points, I think, on those. But you do always get the little guide as well as the quote card. So this time around we got a paperback, which I don't mind. And it does say that they put the Once Upon a Book Club sticker on there, so you know where you got it from. So I'll go ahead and read that. And then we did get an author note, which I didn't actually read ahead of time. So I'm going to read that for you once I read the book blurb. It says, an ambitious screenwriter tries to solve a friend's disappearance by recreating a fateful trip in this riveting locked room mystery. It should have been the perfect spring break. 5 girlfriends, a remote winery on the Oregon coast, an infinite supply of delicious wine at their manicured fingertips. But then their center, beautiful, magnetic Vanessa Morales, vanished without a trace. Emily Fisher was perhaps the last person to see Vanessa alive. But now, years later, Emily spots her friend's doppelganger at a local cafe. At the end of her rope, working a lucrative yet mind-numbing gig on a network sitcom, Emily is inspired to finally tell the story that's been percolating inside her for so long, Vanessa's story. But first, she needs to know what really happened on that fateful night. So she puts a brilliant scheme into motion. Under the guise of reconnecting, Emily gets the girls together for a reunion weekend at the scene of the crime. There's Brittany, Vanessa's cousin and the inheritor of the winery, Paige, a former athlete, bullish yet easily manipulated, and Lydia, the wallflower of the group. One of them knows the truth. But what have they each been hiding, and how much can Emily trust anything she learns from them, or even her own memories of Vanessa's last days? Suspenseful, propulsive, and interspersed with scenes from Emily's blockbuster screenplay, Scenes of the Crime is an unforgettable mystery that examines culpability, the shiny rear-view mirror of Hollywood storytelling, and the pitfalls of female friendship. So it sounded really good, like locked door mystery. It was interesting because, as you can see, they demarcated it with different fonts. So some of it is written in screenplay form because she's a screenwriter, which was interesting. So you see these 2 parallel stories unfolding, what she is going to do in her retelling of it and what actually happened and where the drama's been added and where real life is actually stranger than fiction sort of thing. So I liked it, but it was still very like 4 female friends that like don't get along. I don't know. It was interesting. So Brittany, Vanessa, Paige, Lydia, and then, there's 4 female friends, and then, of course, Vanessa went missing, and Emily, who is our narrator and writer. But let's go ahead and read the author's note, and then hopefully I have time to get through everything. Actually, let's go through the pages and the gifts, and then I'll read the author's note at the end, if we have time. So the first gift came on page 57, and you can see, again, beautiful packaging. This one was so big that it didn't quite fit in the box, so they really just kind of stuffed it in there, which is okay. So this is what it looks like when you come across one of those sticky notes to open up. This was probably one of my favorite gifts, so again, this is in the first person. I popped a dried cherry into my mouth and sliced off a hunk of what looked like aged cheddar. Britt, do you mind if I open this Cab Franc? Paige flashed the bottle. Please, anything the wine rack is fair game, and we have an entire cellar to dig into if there's nothing there that appeals. Brittany flicked her long hair over her shoulder and plucked a single almond off the board. Lydia, was this you? She pointed at the tray, slightly less composed than when I'd arrived, but still beautiful. Lydia glanced up from where she was slicing vegetables near the sink and nodded once. I'm impressed. It's like something out of a photo shoot. But then you were always artsy. So Lydia took the time to put on a full charcuterie spread. So I thought this was a pretty good gift. It's going to be tricky to get out of the box because it was really stuffed in there the first time. So let me see if I can get this out. All right, so we got this nice serving tray. There was an earlier interaction between the girls where Emily was basically, they were like, you always loved a cheese board. And she's like, yeah, I guess I loved a cheese board because all the other girls, you know, not all the other girls, but a lot of them are like that painfully thin look, beautiful model-esque. And she's like, yeah, that's me. I'm the one who loves cheese, which that would be me. But this is actually a pretty nice cheese board. They just put this like meat platter on it, an actual charcuterie board. Because remember, the actual word, it would be a meat platter, not with cheese. But we always, us Americans, we think of the serving tray as being, or our charcuterie board as including cheese. But not necessarily. But this is real wood. It's pretty nice. Good little size. good little personal charcuterie board size. So I thought that was a good item to start with for sure. I really have felt like they've been upping their game in the quality of the gifts lately. The next gift came on page 100, and then we had to wait until like page 300 and something for our last two gifts. So there was a big gap. Usually they're a little more evenly spaced. This one, the packaging, not so exciting, but okay. So let's see. So that's why I kind of almost wonder if this was like an afterthought on this one, because they're usually so good about their packaging. So I wonder if something happened in the shipping. So the girls, you know, there's already tensions. They haven't really remained friends since Vanessa left or was murdered. We don't know. So it says, well, just the three of us, I guess, I said, voice chirpy. Let me just run upstairs and grab my coat. Actually, I think I'll beg off too, Lydia said, slipping the dog-eared playing card between the pages of her book again and laying it down on the counter. A faded gesture's head peeked out over the top. Oh, come on, Lydia. Don't be that way. Brittany rolled her eyes. I'm sorry I said psycho, okay? But you know I didn't mean anything by it. So Lydia was offended by her use of the word psycho, and so she's saying that she doesn't want to go to brunch. So typical thing for the girls to do while they're staying at a winery. So we got a book. Now, I am not usually a fan, that's just me, some people love it, of getting more books in book subscription boxes, especially if they don't seem to have anything to do with it. Now, in the past, we've gotten books from Once Upon a Book Club where like they were referencing a book or it was an author and like they did a different book jacket and then the book inside like maybe didn't have anything to do with it. I'm curious if everyone got the same book. This is The Future of Another Timeline by Annalee Newitz, and I read it, and it does have two different timelines, but it seems very futuristic, and I'm not entirely sure, even though this book also had two timelines, it wasn't like actual time travel, and this one is actual time travel, where it says Tess's and Beth's lives intertwine as war breaks out across the timeline, a war that threatens to destroy time travel and leave only a group of elites with the power to shape the past, present, and future. So it just seemed like kind of non sequitur, honestly, even though it's a hardcover. So I feel like maybe they had like a bunch of remainders or they wanted to like introduce us to new authors, but it was kind of a loose tie-in. But I guess we got a hardcover book. They did have the Joker playing card that she was using as her bookmark in there, so that was like a nice little touch, but that was the gift that I was kind of disappointed in all honesty. All right, page 342 was our next one. Like I said, we had to wait like almost 150 pages for the next one. So this is towards the end, so hopefully there's no spoilers here. There's not, because you don't even know if this is what really happened or if this is what happened in her screenplay. So it says, let's see. Emily, come on. Vanessa was already twisting the handle that opened the hatch. I swallowed hard. Lydia was starting after Vanessa, the knife gripped tightly in her hand. Could I make my way past her to the winery entrance? Would that make her follow me instead? My fingers closed around the corkscrew in my pocket, its cool, sleek shape growing less and less reassuring by the moment. I flicked open the twisted strip of metal, pressing the pad of my thumb to the end, testing its sharpness. The only pain I felt was from the pressure. So it's one of those old school corkscrews that almost looks like a jackknife or a switchblade, like the old ones that are difficult to use. And I was like, oh, is that what we're gonna get? Like, I feel like nobody uses those since they've like developed the rabbit corkscrew. But here it is. They actually printed the quote on the bottom. See, this is why I feel like this is so nice, and the thought and effort that they put into the production of the packaging, that mailer bag, that plain mailer bag, just seemed like that there must have been like a replacement gift, and also just like that we got a random book, and I wonder if everybody got the same random book. So inside though, we got a corkscrew, and it's still like an old-fashioned one, but not like a jackknife one. This one is in gold, which is kind of cool because I think all my corkscrews are just plain old silver, but this is kind of pretty, and it does have a nice little box to keep it in. So here's your corkscrew. I always like making them dance, but it will fit right back into this little box. So where I wish they hadn't printed the numbers quite so big. I know a lot of you get mad at me for saying that all the time, but they do make such nice boxes. If they just made it a little more subtle, like on here, then I feel like you could, you know, keep this in your bar area. It's just kind of awkward to have it say a giant page number on there, or even if it just said, you know, the page number a little more subtly, and it could even say Once Upon a Book Club on it if they really wanted you to basically be citing the source of these items. All right, and our final gift came on page 375. Let's see if I can remember what this one was. Oh, okay, so 375 was actually later. So it goes back and forth in time because they're remembering the events of that actual night, of course. And then we have the two stories of what's actually happening to Emily and the girls, and then what is happening to all of them in Emily's version of events. But, you know, there's the past and present real happenings, and then the past and present screenplay events. All right. Let's see. So, Vanessa tugged off her gigantic sunglasses to fix me with an expectant stare as I slipped into the passenger seat. She'd wrapped an ivory headscarf over her dark hair and around her neck and was giving off strong Audrey Hepburn vibes. Part of me wondered if she might get scouted right now, waiting outside the studio. Though in LA, beautiful women, even women as beautiful as she was, were a far less remarkable sight. So, we got something that we often get in subscription boxes, often in book boxes. I think it's like an easy gift to get in mass quantities, but I love these pull drawer boxes. And again, this is one of those moments where I wish the page number was a little bit smaller. You guys, there's a few people who like love their Once Upon a Book Club, and the fact that I like mention that every time, please remember, if you're one of those people that is getting annoyed by me saying that I wish they didn't print the page numbers on their packaging, this may be the first time that someone has ever seen this video, so I want to acknowledge it. All right. Inside, we of course have some sunglasses. So it did come with a nice cleaning cloth. It's actually a really stiff one. It almost kind of feels like the linen that you would use to clean silver. So it's not like the super soft microfiber that I'm used to. I do like this glasses case. It's just open at one end, but we always try on sunglasses here on the channel. So these are some big movie star style glasses. You're probably gonna get some reflection from my one ring light that I've got. But we always try them on. They're, you know, I have to adjust them because my face is crooked. I'm sure the glasses are crooked, but they're big kind of movie star glasses that I will either keep in my glove compartment for emergencies or for loaning to friends. I do like the big broad sides on them, but again, not like the highest value item, not a terrible item to include in the book. Didn't have like a huge amount to do with the books. Like sometimes you really get items in these boxes that feel like a true souvenir of the box or of the book, of the read, which I like a lot if it's a good gift. And then sometimes they don't have much to do with it, but the quality of the gift makes up for that. So I kind of think that with like the charcuterie board, with the serving board, right? Like I won't necessarily associate a charcuterie board with this book and be like, oh yes, I remember that amazing read, which I thought was okay, but not like my favorite thriller that I've read this year. But I do appreciate that they gave us a quality item. So I'd rather have a quality item that doesn't go along with the book so much versus an item that really goes with the book but isn't very quality, or something that they've had made that just doesn't seem like, or white labeled, that doesn't seem like the highest quality. Obviously, ideally, it would be gifts that are well made, high quality, and really go along with the passage, but also the whole book and the whole vibe of it, which I felt like they nailed a little bit more in last month's book. A little bit more. I felt like it was a little more cohesive and overall really strong quality. I'm just very curious to know like the behind the scenes story on why we got this book that doesn't seem super related and this super plain mailer bag. Like I don't mind if they do mailer bags, but it just seems outside of their style because they usually do so much in terms of these beautiful, really nice, high quality boxes. Let's read the author's note though. All right, guys, thank you, by the way, for being here. If you appreciate these videos, if you just appreciate my channel in general, I would love a thumbs up, and a comment below is also really, really helpful to me. Okay, dear reader, I've always been fascinated by cults. Me too, I've been watching so many of the documentaries about them. We all like to believe we could never be drawn into something so obviously wrong, that our minds and wills would be too strong to fall under the seductive sway of a charismatic leader. But like the thriller writer's other favorite companion, murder, falling prey to a cult is really just a matter of circumstances. In a certain mindset at a specific crossroads, I think many, if not most people, could fall under the special spell that being part of something exclusive, something outsiders don't really understand, so tantalizingly offers. Toxic friendship isn't really so different. Power imbalances, controlling people by letting them into or freezing them out of an exclusive inner circle, getting carried away by the intoxication of being chosen. It's really just a cult in miniature. So true. Scenes of the Crime is the dark bloom that grew out of that particular poisonous seed. I wanted to explore what might happen if that brand of friendship was taken to its logical extreme. If you couldn't quite break free from the magnetic hold certain charismatic people exude, what might you do? Who might hurt you? How far would you go to protect that feeling of being special, being more? I hope that, like me, you're surrounded by genuinely kind, caring people you can trust. I hope your friendships are deep and true and loving. But all that said, isn't it fun to take a peek at the dark side? So that was actually a great author's note that wasn't just a summary or a synopsis of the plot. It wasn't just another blurb. So I really appreciate that. Thank you, Jilly. I loved that. And I wish I had read it ahead of time because it really is about female relationships and how they can go south. They are tricky things to have. They're wonderful things to have, but tricky things to have. So now that puts this whole book into a little bit more context. You guys let me know, though, what you thought about this if you had the opportunity to read the book. I do think it was worth the read for sure. Like I said, it was pretty decent. I liked the different kind of formatting of it. I thought the books, the gifts were okay, but not the best I've seen from Once Upon a Book Club. But overall, another great reading experience. Hopefully I'll see you all very, very soon in my next unboxing.